for a quid, I'm an anaesthetist. So back in 95, 96, I was working at the RD&E for a year, and eventually just sort of started going to matches, and fortunately or unfortunately, got hooked. Yeah. So that's my story.
And how long ago was that?
95, 96.
So
And that was at the time, that it was a bit upsetting because the club were literally going around the streets wanting people to put pound coins into a bucket to save the club. That's when Peter Fox started managing, and I think Noel Blake at the time was his assistant. But it was another one of those times where City were in danger of not having a club. Yeah, recurring theme.
but I'm sure, as as horrible as probably some of those memories are, you must have some pretty good memories as well of times watching City.
Yeah, look, the main thing is just going around with the lads and visiting when I'm over here. I'm a member of the Exiles from London, and go along. So that's the best thing. I mean, I remember standing on the big bank with that match where Wednesday were there, and singing along. You're just a Cameron Dawson and all that sort of stuff. That was to the Wednesday keeper. And he wasn't particularly happy. So, but that was a good day. Yeah.
Oh, I can I can remember that game actually.
Yeah.
How do you find it following from Australia? Because with the time differences, I can imagine it can't always be too easy to watch the games.
I don't watch every week, but when there's a game on that I'm interested in, or a big game, or then I watch it on iFollow. So I do that, and it always helps when depending on the time of the year, the time difference is less, and when it's earlier in the evening, that's much better. I remember a few years ago on long service leave, we did the motorhome travel around the country thing, the so-called big lap in Australia, which everyone does. And I remember sitting in the front of in the front cabin while my wife is asleep in the back at all hours of the night, watching there just on my iPad. So yeah, good times.
So you're just driving. So you could be somewhere in the outback and you're watching City on your
Yeah. Wherever there's a signal. Yeah, absolutely.
Is it easy to be awake at say 1, 2 a.m. to watch City?
Um, depends how we're playing. But yeah. So more commonly, I often go to bed and then set the alarm and get up. I work a number of days on the weekends as well. So, if I'm working the next day, I certainly don't sit up late to watch it.
You mentioned 95, 96.
Yeah.
When you first started watching the club, to see where the club is now, how does that compare to you?
Oh, look, I think it's incredible what's happened. I'm a trust member as well. I thought I should be. And since the trust has taken over the club, I mean, the first achievement is that there is a club. But that documentary I saw that the club made for the anniversary, all the input from the volunteers and stuff, all the cleaning up. I mean, it's just incredible what people did at the time to save the place. And to be in a situation we are now with the youth academy and the facilities, and new grandstand. I mean, you would never have believed it back in 95 that sort of stuff was happening. And yeah, it's nice to be in League One. Yeah, it's a bit of a battle, but we need to be realistic about where we are. I remember when I went to the playoff game final at Wembley against Blackpool, and we were having the Exiles and I were having a few drinks with some Blackpool supporters after the match, and they started talking about clubs and sugar daddies coming in to run them and stuff, and said, yeah, but you'd all be happy if someone came in with millions of dollars and put money. And we, without any hesitation, every single one of us said no. Because we've been down that track, and just to have a club that's sustainable, and I mean, it's just a fantastic thing. It really is.
Being in Australia, I think you find there's quite a lot of British expats, and just when we put the call out for Global Grecians, we've got I think it's up to 6 from Australia now that have got in touch. A couple in Melbourne, myself in Adelaide. We've got one up in northern New South Wales as well. Have you come across any Exeter City fans in your neck of the woods?
No, unfortunately, I haven't. Although in the days I was playing football, I used to give a bit of curry because one of the guys on the team was an Argyle supporter. So uh, we had a few things. So that's as close as I've come to fighting a City fan back home. Yeah.
We were thinking actually we should put you all in touch that have got in touch with us, and we can see if we can create the Aussie Grecians, if you like.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It's an abnormal number.
Yeah. The only sort of contact I had is that one of my mates, who I'm sure you know, is Neil Lamilia, and so he got me to mail some stuff to a fella in outside of Melbourne. So he might be one of the guys. It was cheaper for me to take it back home and mail it from Adelaide than it was to mail it from here.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, being over there, is it easy to say you're proud to be an Exeter fan, or do people say who are Exeter, or do people say, oh, why don't you support Adelaide United or something like that?
Well, I do support Adelaide United. I don't get to as many games as I used to. I used to be a season ticket holder, but and keep an eye out. Joe Gauchi, our keeper, got sold. He's currently on the bench at Villa. I think because Sinisalo was with us, so But no, it's great. People are happy to hear about it. You do get the occasional person that said, but who do you follow in the Premier League? And I say, but I don't. Don't you watch any? Surely I said, no, I don't. So, but overwhelmingly, if people follow football, I think they respect the fact that you're not a glory hunter, and you follow the team that you feel for.
I want to ask you about the League Two promotion season. Obviously, that would have been, I'd imagine, an early morning game. The Barrow game would that been early morning for you to watch?
Oh, I didn't see it. No.
Oh, such a shame. I was going to say, how would you have celebrated the promotion?
No, I remember that because I was working the next day. So, but I saw the highlights afterwards and stuff. So I had a drink or two. Yeah. And I think whether how long we stay in League One, we'll see. I think sometimes some elements of the support lose trace of the fact, or lose the idea that it is a harder league to be in, and we can't necessarily expect the same degree of success that we had in League Two. But again, as my mate Neil was fond of saying, success is avoiding relegation. It's not and the ultimate success, of course, for City is that we have a club, and we need to keep that in mind about where we were. And sometimes, I suspect that supporters that are younger wouldn't necessarily realise where the club's come from. We need to remember where it's come from, and that we have a club.
Certainly a great message. You mentioned the Sheffield Wednesday game. There was that the last game you were at? Have you been to any since?
No, when they had matches get moved when I was over back in November, so I actually went to the EFL, whatever you call it now, the trophy in third and fourth division. I went up to Swindon to watch that midweek because it was the only match that I was going to be able to get to, and I remember getting bloody lost trying to get my way out of the ground, and I asked for directions from a fella in a car because I couldn't get back to the train. I had no idea where I was going, and he was kind enough actually to drop me off at the train station, so that was really good. But yeah, that took a bit of dedication to get to, I guess.
Are you hoping to come back for the new season at some point?
Oh, absolutely. It just depends on when I can get over. So most of the time, if I'm coming over here, it's generally for work. I've got conferences and so forth. But occasionally, I get over just to visit family. I've got family in Scotland. My dad was from Aberdeen, who's my other club, and So, but most of the time it just depends on when meetings and stuff are on. And let's just say that I do try and time the meetings according to when matches are on. But unfortunately, back in November, matches got moved because of international call-ups amongst other things. And then of course the other time I came over and the Queen died while the plane was in the air. So a lot of matches were called off at that time. So bad luck seems to follow me around.